Hello and welcome everyone to the fifth episode of the Let's Ask Expert. The vacation period is coming out to an end, and so does our break in the community activities. So once again, the soft skills team, the Global BA community, is proud to present you the next episode, where we will be actually talking about today the aspect of creativity and how creativity can help us work in the IT industry. Today, as always, we have great experts and we'll have hopefully a great discussion as well. Just to give you like a brief overview of what actually were the options at the end of every episode, we have this voting on which topic you would like to have covered in the next one. So stay tuned with us till the end of this meeting because at the end you'll have the opportunity to vote which topic will be covered in episode 6. But just looking at the votes, the topic that was selected by you at the end of episode 4 was the topic of the creativity. And that's why I'm super proud to present that we have Tomasz, Jakub, and Marcus who will be our experts today, but they will have the opportunity to present themselves and to introduce themselves. So starting with Tomasz, a couple of words about yourself on this event.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Tomasz Pebański. I'm working for clients as product manager, focused on building generative AI solutions. Also, since 3 years, I'm heavily involved in organizational development when I'm leading a team of product managers and business analysts in EPAM. And also, I created AI community for EPAM employees, which now has reached about 3,000 members. And I'm also founder of AI Ambassadors program, which connects AI enthusiasts globally. So I'm very much focused on promoting culture of innovation and creating opportunities for growth for people.
And we do hope that AI can also help us with the creativity, and we'll be able to cover that in today's discussion. Marcus?
Hey folks, my name is Marcus Swan. I'm Associate Design Director based in Dublin in Ireland. I've been a designer for about 18 years as a kind of hands-on individual contributor, manager, head of design studios. I've worked across everything from, kind of visual communications, graphic design, branding, and all the way into product UX, UI design. I currently working across a whole range of projects for EPAM. Like I said, both kind of hands-on and from a management point of view. And I'm very happy to be here and see if we can chat about creativity and imagination.
Nice. Thank you so much for being here with us. And for the second time as an expert in the Let's Ask Expert session, we have also Jakub Siwiecki. So Jakub.
Hi, everyone. You might be wondering, software engineer, what I'm doing here. I think Jan asked me to join because of my second expertise. Probably that's my assumption. So generally, I graduated as a business psychologist, and before joining EPAM, I was working as an external consultant for many different industries, as a coach, as a trainer, for individuals, for teams. And even when I decided to join EPAM. I started my work as a trainer in L&D department. Probably you can recognize this department. Probably they send some emails to you. And after some time, I decided to move a bit, not fully from this because partially I do it still. I coach, I train, I join this kind of events. But my second, let's say, expertise was close to statistics and research studies. It's maybe not oftenly mentioned when it comes to psychology, but yes, it's a part of psychology as well. And I decided to work with data, and that's where I am currently. So I'm a data engineer. However, still helping others, as Jan mentioned, to make world better.
And being here with us today, also as a trainer of the topic creative problem solving. Yeah, so that's also something that can help us with the problem solving, the creative approach of that aspect. So definitely glad to have you in this session. As those sessions are just basically free talk, free conversation, so we encourage all of the participants write in the chat any questions you might have to our experts. Any kind of participation is more than welcome. And there's nothing left for me to say, but let's begin the topic. Let's begin the conversation. So I'm stopping sharing the screen. Let's now have this more detailed conversation because For me personally, a part of being a business analyst, I'm a business analyst by day and a musician by night. So creativity comes in very handy when it comes to the music in my life. However, I would like to ask you, uh, can you briefly describe to our audience how does creativity play the role in your day-to-day role, day-to-day activities when it comes to work at EPAM, but also maybe when it comes to also your hobbies as well? Maybe Marcus, let's start with you.
Oh, you pick on me first.
Ah.
I suppose, yeah. So in terms of it's quite blurred in terms of I think most of us are kind of working from home, so I try and take little opportunities throughout the day to kind of flex my creative muscles. I think again one of the things that I found from working from home for such a long time after lockdown is you can't just focus on one problem for such a long time. So I don't have the stuff with me. I've moved into a different room, but kind of myself and Jan have been discussing. I play music. I'm trying to get my son, he's 3.5, to kind of engage with these things. So we've got like little keyboards and sequencer machines. I've got some guitars around the place, and it's just a case of even just 10 minutes of that to kind of decompress your brain from a particular problem or challenge, or the unrelenting teams and email notifications that you might get while you're trying to focus on a challenge is good. And it just, again, a lot of creativity for me, the way I access creativity is to kind of try and kind of clear out kind of conscious thoughts and things like that, and just let information kind of percolate from the back of your mind to the front of your mind, and trying to I suppose let your brain do the hard work for you. So having those little instances of kind of, oh, I'm just gonna try and play a song on the guitar that I haven't played in like 10 years, or something like that, just to kind of break the cycle of thinking about something consciously, and let your subconscious kind of tackle it a little bit is there. In terms of hobbies, yeah, and I have, like I said, I have a 3.5-year-old, so I don't really have any actual hobbies. Most of the time, it's looking after him. But we do try and play with, like, I know it kind of sounds, kind of stupid, but like, playing with stuff like, Lego and, kind of all of these kind of construction tools. Like, these are the things that, like, when I was a child, helped unlock creativity. So why wouldn't I use them now as well? You know what I mean? So a lot of that stuff kind of goes on after the laptop closes. But yeah, that's generally kind of trying to find little gaps between meetings and calls to just decompress and let your creativity come out in a different way, which encourages it to come out in more frequent normal ways when you're working.
Not to mention that it gives this opportunity to actually explain the expenses for the Lego. Yeah, so
Exactly.
it's not for me,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
for the
yeah.
baby, right? So
Yeah. I've a pretty kind of cool one up there. I won't get it down now, but yeah, it's up on a shelf because my son is like, "Oh, Daddy, I want to play with your Legos." Like, no, it's not.
nope.
It's not. There's sometimes it becomes not a toy as well.
Yeah. Thomas, what about yourself and the usage of creativity?
Well, at daily work, I'm privileged to use creativity all the time, and for me, it's basically ability to generate new ideas, finding solutions to problems. So it's very useful for building a product for our clients, where we need to thought this through, connect the dots, see the bigger picture from small puzzles. So I'm using this all the time. Also in within the company, when all the activities related to a community, to sharing knowledge, coming up with the new events, right? The topics of the events, and how to approach those things, creating workshops, approaching the tasks in the new way. So yeah, I'm basically using my creativity all the time on my daily work.
And after work, as for hobbies, anything creative there?
I believe so. So I'm kind of writer. So I like to write novels, poems, things like that. So I know now with generative AI can do it for you. But yeah, I try to write still by myself. That's my kind of hobby.
Nice. And Jakub?
I completely connect with Tomasz because I perceive creativity as an ability. So it's something that you can use and you can develop with nearly each tiny task that you have during your day-to-day responsibilities. So when it comes to my current position at EPAM, so data engineer, definitely, and I might be surprised, like that might be surprising for you, but I perceive I use it in cooperation with others mostly, because I'm in front of our team. I discuss with business, I discuss with a customer. So there is like many times when I need to, let's say, persuade someone to something, and here's the place for creativity. Because sometimes I just need to explain something, I need to bring some arguments, so I need to create this, and that comes from creativity. And in order to deliver it in some way, I use some tools, like for instance, analogy. Analogy I perceive as one of the best tools in persuasion. Very often people, they forget about this. Even some time ago, I did some presentation about analogy as a tool in communication, in communication, in persuasion, in teaching, using even AI. So referring to Tomasz. So how to use AI to increase your analogy or to build the analogy. So that's when it comes to work. Of course, like some kind of like technical problems. I think that's quite obvious. Everyone has this like business comes, request X, and then you just need to figure out how to deliver it, analyze, discuss. So definitely creativity helps here. And of course, yes, I'm parent, I'm dad of two, so yeah. So that's the place for having fun and creativity as well. When it comes to hobbies, my hobbies, not yet my kids' hobbies. Let's see, we will see. Mostly, I would say like illusion. I mean, like card magic, table magic, this kind of things. I'm very into it, and I really like it. So that's about me.
And also, we have also one thing in common about playing the bass guitar. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. But like with like more people you have at home, then like the time decreases, I would say. At least this is my observation when it comes to data that I have to analyze. I'm able to analyze my private data.
Definitely, I have the same problem. I have so many wishes to find the time to play the guitar, but not necessarily the opportunity to do that. But in general, I would like to ask you another question. That there is right now this big emphasis on the AI world and on somehow using this ChatGPT or any other generative AIs that can help us with the work. And sometimes I kind of see that potentially there might be the undervalue of the aspect of the soft skills in general. And I would like to ask you: do you also perceive that in your area, and if and whether the creativity can actually help foster the soft skills, or can also improve or the AI can improve the aspect of creativity for us in the technological sector? What do you think? Maybe Tomasz, as you are the expert in the AI, what do you think? How can AI and creativity coexist and enhance one another?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, AI tools, help us with automating time-consuming and repetitive tasks. So by using AI tools, we have more time for creative process where we can think about outside the box, right, and find solutions. Also, AI, it should be treated as kind of our mentor or like assistant, where we can navigate through it and learn certain things, prepare for the speech. Now it's just much easier because we can just improve the research point to make it very effective and efficient. So also AI helps us with analyzing the larger data sets and having some valuable insights which we can later use for the creative process. So other example, like for example, I'm not gifted with any manual skills to paint. However, I tend to have pictures in my thoughts, which I couldn't put on canvas. But now with AI, I can do it very easily, right? So I can just focus on this pure creative process of thinking about this, and I'm using AI to just generate it for me. Similarly, it can be applicable for music and other things. Also with writing, which I don't like because I like write by myself. But also maybe a bit controversial, but what I think AI can be a great tool for already creative people. Because like I said, it's automating the repetitive and time-consuming tasks, which we can later use for this creative process. But for people who are lacking creativity, it can be also a danger because, for example, when we need to came up with a name for anything, like for project, for restaurant, for any given name, we can just type to ChatGPT, right? It will generate number of names, and they will just pick the best one. But we will not think it through before we had to brainstorm. We think about the best possible name, and naming convention, right? Right now. The risk with AI is that to not kind of like train your brain to ask, receive kind of phase, right? So I think AI can be also a kind of a danger for some people to stop thinking by themselves, just ask AI and then receive the response.
Hmm. Marcus, you are as a UI designer, um, responsible for the creative aspect and the usability and the functionality and interaction between the system and the user. Yeah. Uh, did you find that, for example, AI can assist and can help with that aspect to make it more efficient, or sometimes you still prefer to use the quote unquote old-fashioned methods with the
Maybe, yeah. So I think it's an interesting one. My kind of use of AI kind of is kind of around where Tomas has kind of talked about. I use it as a starting point, but again, I have 18 plus years of experience as a practitioner, so I can quickly kind of like look at what it's kind of sent back to me and say, oh yeah, okay, is this a good? It's just a starting point. That's it. In terms of, let's say, how you're kind of describing it again. I, yes and no. I think there's a lot of buzz around, kind of, oh, AI tools can do this from a UX or a UI perspective. But again, I think, again, as Tomas has kind of said, look, I think the danger there is that not that people kind of will rely on it in kind of blindly just rely on it and say, oh, hey, it's designed my app for me, it's designed this page for me. It's that they're not critically, kind of looking into it and saying, oh, well, actually, what is this thing? What is this answer that I've got back? It's the same way, look, anybody of a certain age will remember their parents telling them, it's like, don't believe everything you see on the internet. It was like, don't believe everything that ChatGTP or an AI gives back to you, because it's only as good as the material that is out there. So it is a case of you have to just, I just use it as a starting point, whether it's kind of write me a summation of this user story or a scenario, or set up a mini, it's great for setting up like mini kind of hypothetical workshops where maybe you can't, you want to try and discuss something. So I would use it oftentimes as a counterpart, because what I like to do is design with other people. So yeah, and you know what that's like. We've been in plenty of sessions.
Yep.
There's lots of questions, there's lots of dialogue back and forth. It's I don't go into a dark room and just like conjure up screens magically. And again, I think that's one of the misconceptions with creativity, is that people often assume that you're instantaneously creative, or you need to kind of, you will go away, be creative, and come back with a creative solution. It's not. Oftentimes the best creative solutions are slightly painful, and you need to kind of work through them in workshops or in sessions with people. So yeah, my use of AI, as you kind of said, is kind of usually limited to kind of using it as a starting point, or refining something that I've already done, mostly in a textual kind of sense. I have used it recently for another project where we had we had a 12-team squad, and we wanted to. I thought it would be a cool idea to do kind of like NASA mission patches for each of the teams. And if I was to like sit down and illustrate all of those, it would have taken me like 2 weeks. I had each one of them done in I don't know, kind of like a couple of hours, but the couple of hours was me figuring out what the right prompts were for Mid-Journey. I can't remember what the actual AI I was using at the time. So like that's where the kind of the creative investigation went into. It's like, okay, I'm getting this result from it using this prompt, but it's not consistent when I try for this scenario or this request for the different squad names and stuff. So it took a little bit of time to kind of figure that out. But yeah, it's a tool. It's a tool in the same way that Figma is a tool, that Teams is a tool, that my notebook and pen is a tool. It's just there, and you just have to figure out what is your most, I suppose, kind of useful application of that tool.
Now, Stephen King said one time in an interview that he tries to write 2,000 words every single day just to keep his creative juices flowing and just to make sure that he has this rhythm of working. And some of the ideas he used in different books, some of them just he scrapped that and just left it in the notes. Now, working in IT industry, like I don't believe that this is like working in a factory that we can be creative from 9 to 5, because we never know when this creative flow will join us. But is there anything what we can do to actually foster that creative flow and foster that or to enhance our creativity to be so quote unquote in the zone? Maybe Jakub, maybe we can start with you on this one.
Well, I don't divide like being creative in IT, in factory, and so on. I just like perceive it as like being creative as a person, as an individual, or as a team.
Yeah, but what I mean is that in the factory, when you have just like a robotic job, or like like a, I don't know, at the post office, you just put the stamp,
like
just put the stamp.
Yeah, but they're like I even don't remember which company, but like there was one, like I remember one guy, he noticed something, and he was not sharing this idea with his manager. He was just like like a line worker doing this, like as you mentioned, like very repetitive work, and then the company invented this like there was some like innovative let's say week or month, and they did many workshops even for this kind of level of workers. And he said, like I have like for 5 years I've been carrying this idea with me, let me share it with you. And then it just was like wow, we can save so many money because of this idea if we just implement it. And they implemented it. I don't remember exactly, that was something about paint and keeping some parts in some place. He just changed it. So I believe you can sorry, I cannot bring back exactly the company and the story, but yes, of course you can become innovative at each level, even in daily life. But I understand like the context, like IT industry. So I just wanted to mention this, because I believe like if you put effort to become innovative in your outside time of your work, IT or any other, then you don't like leave this skill, you bring it with you. So it works like in every direction. So I believe it's just like about working with a skill. So what someone can do? Well, of course, there are some tools. You can use those tools. I think like when we discussed this, you mentioned that you would like to discuss it, so maybe later. But I would say there's like a few things to remember. Definitely innovation or creativity, like there is a problem to have it or to involve it into process if you have a huge stress. So generally, like if you observe kids, they are very creative when they have joy. So this is something that I would suggest, like whoever, like doesn't matter which kind of level of level in the organization, but just to bring a joy with a customer, with a business, with a team, and so on, so on. Joy, I mean like just to play with them, metaphorically saying, of course, in order to sometimes to maybe to allow to have some silly ideas that after some time you might discover like, wow, there is something in it. Like, you know, like it became silly, but like now I see that there is this tiny part that I can implement. So definitely this is something like joyful and being with others, slash of course many tools that if you want I can mention some of ideas that I have, but I remember that you mentioned that you want to discuss this later.
Yeah, we'll discuss the tools a bit later. Yeah, because we already covered. Well, mentioned already that AI can be one of the tools, right? Marcus also mentioned Figma as well as one of the tools. But you know, we can leave the topic of tools for a bit later. For now, let's just still focus on fostering the creativity and actually developing the creativity. So Tomasz, maybe you also have some tricks up your sleeve when it comes to how to boost creativity in your day-to-day
Yeah,
work.
sure. Kind of what Jakub said. So creativity often flourishes when people are not bound to strict schedules and environments. And in IT, we are often very privileged to have task-oriented job instead of schedule-oriented, right? Like in the factory. So meaning we can perform certain tasks at any time we wish. So for example, for me, I'm the most creative usually when I'm taking a walks. So walk to the park usually results for me that I'm coming back with fresh ideas. When I'm forced to sit in front of laptop and work on something, creativity drops. So the recommendation for me is that find what environment gives you this creativity boost. It can be some usually physical activity, which I can recommend. But also approaching this question from like team management perspective. I believe when we are managing the team in IT, it's important to encourage open communication to kind of facilitate this innovative process. It means also to create brainstorming sessions, some ability for every team member to speak out. And in terms of the team, as like diversity of thoughts. So to ensure that your team is diverse in terms of skills, background, perspectives, business analyst, engineer, product manager, right? They're all different backgrounds, and listening all those different viewpoints can inspire others and also lead to innovative solutions.
Yeah, I think this is also a very valid point because each of us comes from a different background, comes from a different, environment. We are the sum of our own experience, right? And using the opportunity that we are a global company, we might reach out to our colleagues, in Mexico or in China, or we have today visitors from Australia or from United States, and just to see how they would solve this, how they would approach a certain situation, and that also can give us a bit of wider perspective. When you've mentioned about this physical activity, I remember my one story that I had some years ago. I came back from the swimming pool on Sunday, somewhere around 9 in the evening, and I had an epiphany that suddenly, I know how to solve the problem I couldn't solve for the whole week. So it's, like sit down. I was working like till, I don't know, late hour in the night, but I was in the zone. I just found that brilliant solution that I just couldn't tackle for the whole week because suddenly something unblocked in my mind, right? So that's sometimes also this is this amazing thing that also EPAM gives us this flexibility. Yeah, we are remote by design, and we can use that remote aspect to our advantage. Yeah. Marcus, you also mentioned that that just 1 second, Jakub.
Sure.
You mentioned about this, breaks in music for music or just do the Lego or something. Anything else that you also do in addition to boost that?
Yeah, I think the Tomas kind of touched on like your physical position and kind of like so walking. I've been Jan exactly the same. I've literally had to sprint home from when I used to work in a studio because on the walk home I had this idea. I was like, oh, I gotta write this down. I ended up actually sprinting home and in, and like we have a whiteboard in the kitchen writing down the whole concept and stuff. But I actually find just the act, if you have a standing desk, just the act of standing up and kind of like being in a more active position. We're not meant to sit down all day. I know I'm sitting at the minute, but I have a standing desk. I find, kind of getting up and doing it, doing that is great. I know I've seen kind of like a couple of people in the chat saying about meditation and things like that. I'll do a what's called a yoga nidra. It's kind of like a little 10-20 minute kind of meditation kind of thing. You basically just kind of like help your nervous system kind of reset. Yeah, just if you want to kind of get your brain active, you have to get your body active. So yeah, I'll go for a walk, or I'll do some squats. I know it sounds stupid, like all of these things are like really ridiculous, sound really ridiculous, like when you're trying to create something visual and you're trying to move your body. Yeah, but it works. You kind of have to, like you said, let your brain stop thinking about stuff and do something else, and the idea will come. I'll put it in the chat. There's a really amazing book that I read kind of, I don't know, it must be 10-15 years ago, called A Technique for Producing Ideas. It's by an author called what's his name James Webb Young. I'll send the link in the thing, and it's amazing. This book is like 40 pages long, and it basically kind of outlines kind of a way to ingest information, let it percolate, let it work, and then kind of facilitate the ideas that come from it. And I suppose the real skill with using creativity is in the same way that we kind of mentioned with the AI stuff already, is knowing when an idea might be valid, or being able to kind of iterate on that idea. So a lot of creativity is having lots and lots and lots of ideas, and that's great. But knowing which ones to take forward, or knowing how best to take them forward, is actually the real kind of differentiator and skill. And I don't know if there's an easy way to explain how to actually kind of do that either.
You gave me a very good idea, actually, because you reminded me of a book called Becoming the Idea Machine, with the subtitle, Because the Ideas Are the Currency of the 21st Century. And so that's also the book that I will share in the chat with our audience. So whoever would want to read that, I definitely recommend both of the books, the one Marcus mentioned and the one that I shared as well. But Jakub, you wanted also to mention something.
Well, both of you referred to body, which is very, very important. And probably, Marcus, because you're from design, probably you heard about, and maybe most of us, we heard about Walt Disney technique, right? Like, I don't know, I'm just looking, do I see like someone nodding ahead? I notice Jan. So there's like this creative process description, and this is a story how Walt Disney was doing it. He had those 3 rooms, dreamer, realistic, critic, and there's like a process of like where to start and how to create the whole idea. And of course, everyone can do it by themselves as well. But very often when people, they refer to this Walt Disney technique, it is like old school. We have some new methods, of course. This is something that, like, for inspiration, probably you can even Google and find some pictures of those rooms. I was trying to find it, but very often people, they don't mention this, that this critic room was very, very uncomfortable for people who were sitting there, because the idea was to make it like, I don't like, to keep this pose, like I'm to become even angry that you're here, in order to take this emotion and push it toward the idea, to make it more, to criticize it. And the dreamer, of course, was like laying down like on the beach and dreaming and so on. So like just cutting to the point, there is like bunch of studies that definitely showing that body affects how we think. So definitely movement and those elements that you mentioned, Jan and Marcus, that's very important. I just wanted to refer to that.
Also, we have a question from one of our members in the audience, from Muminjan, who actually asked the question: how do you guys feel the creativity to spark up your inspirations in times when you feel that there's not enough inspired to creative work? Sorry.
Is a question to
all of
whole
you.
audience.
Yes, okay. I mean to Tomasz, Marcus, Jakub, whoever wants to pick up the question first.
Well, I think that we just discussed like the movement can help definitely. I think definitely this is something that I use as well. I think it was already maybe without the naming the technique or the approach, but incubation. It was already like about playing the guitar, doing something else. This is like a very strong. We very often we undermine this. Like we think that like there is a problem, I need to solve it right now, and we just like force and push. Sometimes just taking a step back, doing something else will bring a perfect, a great solution. You know, there are many inventions. I remember one story about some Friedrich, a German chemistry. I don't remember the name, but generally he took a nap or just like anyway. He had a dream, and in the dream, the snake was seizing its own tail, and that was a solution of his problem, a chemical problem. And he figured out, I can implement this to my day-to-day work, and he found out some solution of some chemistry problem. So definitely incubate can bring a great solution, I think. So that's about me. So yes, sometimes I just like take a pause and just enjoy something else to bring a new fresh mind to the problem.
Yeah, I think anyone who was working in IT was once in that situation where you were looking at the code trying to find that semicolon somewhere. You just couldn't find it for the whole day. Someone walks up to you and is like, "It's here, line 146. How could you not see it?" And you're just like, how could I not really?" Yeah, so definitely there are those situations that we might need to look at it from the slightly different point of view. We are blessed in Gdańsk office actually that our office is kind of like it has a corridor around the whole floor. So every now and then you can step out and you can just walk around the whole floor just to take a small break. That also might help every now and then. But maybe Tomasz, maybe you also have some ways to actually, when the fuel is low, just like ignite that spark.
Yeah, actually, Jakub mentioned dreams. And speaking about dreams, I have one technique which is very simple. When I'm looking for solution to a certain problem or the answer, I often think about this right before sleep, and then the first thought when I'm waking up. So this is kind of what I'm doing sometimes, and it works for me. So it's like a quick solution. But what Jakub said also, when we have a problem, we are kind of blocked with this creative process, just step back. It works always the best. Step back, do something else, and usually some innovative solution will come on the way. That's basically this most simple approach, but it always works.
Mm-hmm.
If I may, one more. Sorry, Jan.
Of course.
I never tried. I need to be sincere, but now I just like it. Remind me. This question remind me one of the study that showed that people become more creative if they just put around them a picture of someone who is creative for them, of course. So, for instance, I don't know, like Albert Einstein or someone else. So I'm just like thinking, maybe this is some kind of like a signal to our brain to tune to those, let's say, I know this is like bumble. It doesn't sound like a real thing, but I'm trying to describe it in more like realistic way, to tune in to this atmosphere of creativity. So maybe that is a good idea as well, to have something that like triggers some creative approach or creative association in you, and just put it somewhere. Just put it somewhere near to you.
Well, I think that also would greatly depend on the personality of a person itself as well, right? Because I remember there was this book called The War of Art, when one of the artists, he was a book writer, said in an interview that he only writes the books when he is in the zone of creativity. And the time of being in the zone of creativity is Monday to Friday from 9 to 5. Like, this person just forces, like, he treats the art of writing the book as his day-to-day job, and he just like has this time that he forces himself to be creative, try to do something during that period of time, right? So sometimes some people might try to force it.
So that's actually one of the ways that I try and force myself. You can use the term. It's not forcing. It's putting boundaries on things. So we've kind of talked about games and kind of play and all that kind of stuff. But like take an analogy from sport. Every field sport that you play has lines on the pitch and has rules about how you do it. So you have to give yourself some parameters and boundaries. If you say, oh, and I'm going to think of any idea possible, you will never actually come up with a solution to anything. So one of the things that I've found, and it works for me, and I did look into it a little bit, and it seems that you will most likely come to better and more creative solutions to things if you don't work from a list of tasks, but actually put your let's say put your things down more into a schedule and say, hey, I've got 30 minutes to do this thing. So you were saying about that writer, Jan, he's like, hey, I do this stuff from Monday to Friday. I don't do it on the weekends. So my calendar in work is, hey, I've got 30 minutes to do this. I've got an hour to do this. Oh, I've got a meeting here. Great. Okay. I'm going to do, I've got another 30 minutes after that where I can do this task. And it's not, sorry, I don't mean task, but I'm putting myself in a position where I say, I've only got 30 minutes to do this. What can I do in that 30 minutes? If I have to go again, I will do that. If it takes longer, I'll say, okay, I overestimated how complicated this might be. Or on the other hand, if I say, hey, I've got it done in 10 minutes, great. I've got 20 minutes free to kind of do something else now. I can move on to the next thing and move my schedule up. But I find kind of time boxing things from a calendar point of view is much better and more effective to actually, because I think again one of the things that I often find is it kind of frustrates your creativity. Say, hey, I haven't got through all of the things that I needed to get through today. It's like I'm not being creative enough. I'm not being I'm not being good enough. It's like, well, you need to give yourself the time to do it. So like give yourself 45 minutes max or an hour maximum to kind of like look at a single task. Take a break, even 5 minutes, make a coffee, whatever, and then go back to it again if you need to.
Yeah, I think also, at the current stage when we have so many meetings, sometimes people have this approach thinking, oh, I just have half an hour slot, I'll not be able to complete this task, so there's no point in starting. But but the thing is, don't think about the whole task as the big, giant thing that you need to do. Think, okay, what I can do in the 30 minutes to get me one step closer to complete that task. Yeah, that's also quite important.
That resonates in me because, Jan, I think you might know this exercise when I have some training about innovation and creativity and so on. I use a tiny exercise. No worries, I'm not going to do it here, but the main concept is to have some rules, and people need to start from nothing, but need to apply and adjust to those rules. And I use it in order to show that when you have some rules, then something came up, something creative came up. So Marcus, I completely agree with what you shared. I think I don't have any data for that, but
no, it's fine. So I'll put the link in the chat. So yeah, you know Brian Eno, I'm sure
sure, of course,
the musician. So he has a thing called Oblique Strategies, and it's basically like you can actually get it for your phone. It's an app on your phone. It's free. It will just give you a prompt, like a single line prompt. Is like look at it upside down, or take a walk, or just use one color or something, like very, kind of like, things that might not actually apply to the problem, but if you follow them through, it will give you some kind of creative, potentially creative solution, or at least will, at the very least, I suppose, kind of block off an avenue of your thing to say, you know what, that totally didn't work. That's absolutely fine. I'm not going to go down that avenue again, and we'll kind of go again. So again, like I said, a lot of being creative is understanding when to push something and when to stop, and when to take it and iterate on it in a slightly different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think also one more is collaboration with others, and this particularly is very useful in our daily work where we work in teams. And really, like two or more great mindset are much better than just one. And this collective thought process usually tends to lead to wonderful results. And yeah, so collaboration with others, a very important one. With colleagues or with friends, maybe sometimes you had this situations where you are even talking with colleague or friend, even not related to the problem you're looking for a solution for. And by what the person is saying to you, you just get inspired by something, connected some dots, and it bring the idea. So we can be in this creative process alone, but also with others as well.
I think also this whole rubber duck debugging technique kind of fits that purpose, right? That from one point of view, when you start talking something out loud, in your head, you have this whole, connection of the dots. But once you start saying it out loud, then realize, oh, actually, maybe there is a different way to look at a certain things. Yeah. Also, I remember from one of the previous sessions, one of the experts mentioned that, when people in the United Kingdom tell you, well, you're not wrong, but have you considered this alternative approach? It means, yes, you are wrong, and you need to consider this alternative approach. Yeah. So it's also about finding those nuances on the language thing. Yeah. But yeah. Going back with the list of tools, so we've mentioned already the AI as one of the tools. We mentioned Figma. Are there any other tools that you use in the day-to-day work or everyday life that can help foster the creativity and boost up the creativity? Yep, notepad and pen. Yep,
that's it. Yeah. I used to like leave voice memos for myself. I've kind of stopped doing it, but yeah, I'd kind of drop a voice memo and say, oh, think about this in this way, and kind of come back to it at a certain stage. Most of the time, and it kind of goes to the point that Thomas was making about collaboration. A lot of times it's just about getting the thought out of your head and into some kind of verbalized or concrete, kind of thing. Because again, if it's just, I don't know, everybody's seen Inception. If it's just an idea in your brain and you don't actualize it, it's not real. So, if you actually put it down on paper or in a voice memo or something, that helps move it forward. So again, a lot of creativity is about, we've talked about it, it's actually about momentum, and it's about kind of building up a level of kind of velocity towards something and trying to keep that consistent or build it up.
Mm-hmm. Tomasz, any tools apart of AI that you can recommend to our audience?
Yeah, so when it comes to working in the team, brainstorming session, right? It's very important how we facilitate brainstorming session for people to be informed in advance what will be the topic, so they can think it through. To have tools like, for example, Miro or Lucid Chart, where we can visualize problems in the best way, and also the Miro boards, for example, should be set up in advance, right? With particular space for people to then engage. So I'm thinking about this. There are other tools, maybe from like organization perspective, hackathons, that they are just, I think this is like, in my opinion, one of the most amazing methods of inspiring and finding these innovative solutions across companies. So also for all individuals to take part in the hackathons, that's also the way of training the innovativeness.
Mm-hmm. Jakub?
I'm a fan of visual thinking, all kinds of. So whatever you have in your mind, I would suggest always just try to put it. I have as well a notepad here. Even like I'm not sure is it the word in English, but when you sketch unintentionally, when you have a phone, for instance, and you have a conversation, I think a doodle.
Yeah.
Probably that's doodle.
Yeah,
so just like even doodle, like create this, because this is the way how your brain works. You don't need to know. This is like this black box. It's like a never. Thomas probably can explain that when it comes to AI. When you just put something to AI and just like this is a black box, and you just get some output. So I would say like use it definitely, take out, and this as well can bring some some different perception, because you take out from your brain your ideas or some problem, let's say, put it on the paper. I'm a fan of paper. Many reasons why, especially when it comes to studies, but I prefer this. And then just you see it from this different angle, from different perspectives. So you already dissociate from the problem or from the idea. So it brings a different new perspective. So that's one thing. Another thing is like, this is a technique, a tiny one, a silly one, but everyone can do it anytime. What if? What if? That's the name of the technique. Very simple. Just like whatever you see wherever, like doesn't matter what time, what you do, like you can ask yourself, like, what if? So you try to follow this. What if I will sit differently on this chair? What if I will ask differently? What if I will do this? What if this will happen? And so on, so on. So you just like playing with the reality in a fun way, trying to creatively to think, and maybe some new idea will come. So I will call it as a technique, as a tool, maybe not tool in our machine. But definitely the sketching, if you work with a team, remote team, definitely I would even suggest to use any kind of tools that can help that. Of course, if you're in the same place, you can just use Flipchart and you can just use visual thinking. And when it comes to group, Thomas, you mentioned brainstorming. I'm a huge fan of revert brainstorming. So like I prefer revert brainstorming because that brings some energy. If you're not aware of this, just a quick explanation. So you start from destroying something. So you either identify first potential obstacles, or you're saying like how to destroy this feature, how to destroy this relation with the customer, and you just like put them, like you treat it as a real one, and then you treat it as a starting point, and then you say, okay, what we need to do in order to not to land in this island of distraction. So definitely revert brainstorming, and I like all kinds of analogies. And I will repeat that analogies, like, they can change a lot. I remember even one project where the problem was changed to the analogy, and then it maybe not was obvious. Still, they needed to discuss something and think about it, but still that helped them to dissociate. Sorry for my pronunciation, but like to get the distance from the problem, and it helped a lot. So I would say this kind of tools.
One of the also advice that you gave me many years ago is also try to use metaphors. As
Analogies / metaphors. Yes,
mm-hmm.
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
That's
yes.
also something that helped me really
but be careful, because like some people, they like definitely overdo this, like too much. It's like with everything, I think you can always, like, from exaggeration to exaggeration, you can just like don't use it too much. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So one question that I have also for you, like when we have someone who is just, aspiring IT professional and they want to enhance their creativity skills, what kind of advice would you give based on your experience in the IT world to help boost that creative skills for them? Thomas, you mentioned that you are, looking at this from the team management perspective. What advice would you give to your team members?
So to embrace continuous learning, because IT field is constantly evolving with new technologies, tools, and methodologies, which are like emerging regularly. So stay curious and committed to learning. I think it's very crucial. Then problem-solving mindset. So approach challenges with the problem-solving attitude. Seek to understand the root cause of issues and think about different ways to solve them. This is basically what business analysts usually do, but I recommend this for everyone. Participate in hackathons and coding challenges for also for everyone, very important. Maybe set like what we were discussing. So set time for these creative activities, meaning sometimes distance yourself from this creative process, do something physical, relax your mind, right where, and let those thoughts just come to you. Yeah, I think this may be also connected to this creative workspace. So Sometimes when our desk is in a mess, right, it can impact the creative thoughts, right? So having clear desk, the workspace, what already mentioned, having some inspiring art quotes around us can also work well. So, I think this.
Marcus?
I think don't be afraid to put your ideas away or in the bin, or if there's some criticism of your idea that you come up with, like, don't take it personally. Like your creativity or solutions to kind of challenges, problems, kind of tasks within your work environment are not a reflection on your ability or your worth as an individual. I think I see a lot of younger designers who are like, I have to design this thing perfectly, and then when they get some feedback or pushback on it from a BA or from the engineers because they can't do it the way they want to do, it's like, they go, no, this is the way it has to be done. It's not. There's always a solution, and the creativity that you need to be able to flex is, okay, well, I have this amazing idea, particularly within, let's say, the situations that we find ourselves operating in with clients and deadlines and, kind of, I don't know, budgets and stuff like that on the line. It's like, okay, well, what's the best version of this that I can get through over the line? Yeah. And am I happy with that? Yes. Okay, fine. Let's do that instead. So I think the whole idea of, I can't remember what the author, because it was like, kill your darlings. It's like, don't worry about the ideas. Again, I've been doing this long enough. Ideas that that you have for one project, you can use it somewhere else. It's fine. Ideas are cheap. Like, they're easy to come by if you know how to get them out, and you can hold on to them. It's fine.
Jakub, any advice?
Spark. It's a device. Spark. Stay curious. So always ask questions. Play. So experiment with ideas with others. Accept the unknown and diversity. Definitely, we already talked about this. Rest. So take rest. Incubate the ideas. Give a break, and keep fun. That's all. So I would say, like, start from tiny steps, and but be persistent and do it each day.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those advices. From my point of view, definitely, finding a creative hobby like music, writing, anything that can help somehow separate from the working activities, just to find something to train your brain in that. And like Tomasz mentioned, talk to people, especially people from other cultures, other countries, other origins, just to widen your own horizons, just to see other perspectives on the same problem. That would be like my advice. And as we are approaching the end of the meeting, I am sharing with you the link to the Mentimeter, so that you will have the opportunity to vote what topic we will cover in the sixth episode. So I will share the screen just to see how the votes will be flying in. But I would also, during that time, would like to ask our experts for any kind of last closing words, any last thoughts in regards to the topic of creativity that they would like our audience to leave from today's meeting.
Well, I would say that creativity is not just valuable skill, but it's actual critical necessity. And creativity in IT enables development of new products and has this problem-solving capabilities. Also, this proactive approach to technology, right? And ensuring that solutions are not only effective, but also forward-thinking and user-centric. So it's actually creative thinkers who are shaping the future of technology.
Thank you, Tomasz. Jakub?
I completely, thank you for this term, critical necessity. I completely agree with that. I would even say this is like creativity is a baseline for soft skills, a baseline. If you lack of, I don't know, communication skills, still having a creativity, you're able to learn it or create it. So I would say start with it, with this, because creativity can bring you. This is like a powerful rocket that can bring you to Mars.
Marcus?
I think creativity is something that needs to be worked on. It is an attribute. It is a skill. It is a talent. Everybody has it. Everybody can employ it. Don't be afraid if aspects of your creativity, when you put it out in the world, kind of get knocked back, because that's just the way things work in the environment that we work in. But yeah, you gotta work on it first to be able to kind of get the most benefit out of it. So, but don't be afraid to work on it, I suppose, is the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm. And as we can see from the voting, majority of the participants selected confidence as the topic for episode 6. So I do hope we will find great experts to cover that topic on the 6th episode of Let's Ask Expert session. So stay tuned for the notifications about that event. For now, there is nothing left for me to say, but Tomasz, Markus, Jakub, thank you so much for finding the time to discuss the topic of creativity with us. To our audience, thank you so much for all of your comments in the chat. Should you have any additional questions, I'm sure our experts will be able to answer any questions that you might have in a direct conversation. And nothing left for me to say, but to wish everyone a wonderful rest of the day. So please stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and I do hope to speak to you again in the future.
Yeah,
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, folks.
Bye, everyone.